It's been a while, but we're here. Smack dab right in the middle of Game 3 between Team Indonesia and Team USA. And yes, if you guys are wondering, we did have to reestablish the lobby and get back into a fresh game. In your ears right now, it's going to be Leo and Reptar bringing you this match.
Yeah, and as you can see, if you were here during the original Game 3, there are changes to the heroes. On the United States side, you can see a Fanny, Kufra, Eve, Beatrix, and this time an XP lane Fredrin. You know, on the side of Indonesia, you have a Kai Rome, who is currently now getting chased by Best Player 1 and Warrior. He's going to be able to get away. That is going to be Best Player 1! Somehow walking away with a kill on the Fanny.
In too deep. He gets punished, and with no walls to call his own. That's interesting to see from a lineup that has a very little hold on a Fanny. If I'm looking at Team United States lineup, I'm looking at, hey, this is pretty decent when you're trying to stop a Fanny, but they're the ones who have the Fanny.
Yeah, and now Super Ken will be able to dash his way onto the turtle, but this is the Fanny he's up against. They're going to need to whittle down this turtle as quickly as possible, or do this, what Sorizo's doing, just disrupting Best Player 1, not even letting him get close. Able to get the purple buff by just only a thread. He's able to get away, but it's going to be a free turtle for Indonesia.
It's as free as it gets. Team Indonesia gets their hands on a turtle gratis. It's what they would call locally. It's a free turtle. Now looking at the 2.5 minute mark, Team Indonesia back in a dominant position. This is what we expect from the team who is fielded from a country that is arguably on top of the world right now when you're talking about MLB esports, and this is indeed the Iesf World Championships for MLBB. Approaching the 3-minute mark, you're seeing Team Indonesia about 1,000 gold ahead. It seems like Team United States have, dare I say, kind of slid back into this position where they're defensive, they're kind of scattered, but we're still looking for them to actually claw back into a position where they're more, how do I say, proactive? But Sorizo's not letting that happen, man. He's one of the few reasons why they're scrambling.
Yeah, it's just his presence on the purple side of their jungle. It is messing up the rotations of the United States, but it looks like that Uranus is going to get punished. Meanwhile, here in the bottom lane, ISO is going to be chased. Moreno and Vin already using the heavy spit to force him back. Not by that much.
Whoa.
He is actually going to miss out on the gold card. So there's a little bit of bad news there for the gold laner of the United States.
Now they have, in their efforts though, spoiled a couple of flickers there. Now you see here Super Ken Sorizo not letting up. This could break out into a fight.
Oh, Best Player 1 brought really low. Is he going to be able to get it? Oh, the Lancelot gets taken out just in the nick of time there by Warrior. Can this Fanny get away? Yes, he can. Sorizo gets taunted, and he's going to get focused on the regen. He is holding on by a thread. He is somehow surviving, but he gets taunted and finally smacked by Fried Chicken. So, despite the aggression and the pressure being shown here by Team Indonesia, Team United States are responding.
And now we've witnessed the rubber band effect. United States now calling the shots. They are up a kill and up on net worth by just a very small margin though, folks. Don't get me wrong. 200, 300 gold. Now as they approach the second turtle of the game, you see that both roamers from both respective teams are going to be playing a little tug of war here as White Chicken joins the fight.
A little bit of the turtle cha-cha. There goes Warrior coming in, and that is going to be the heavy spin committed by Finn to buy time. The members of Team Indonesia can only watch, but they have enough here to contest. How much can they do? Sakin gets hit by Renner's apathy. Cold-blooded is ISO. The turtle ice set, and that's going to be secured by Team Indonesia. Super Ken gets it. Yes, he can, and yes, he did.
Man, Best Player 1, it seems like his retribution needs to start heating up. It's so difficult to play from this position, and I understand, man. He's waiting for it. Was actually off of cooldown. He couldn't get in there. I'm wondering where he spent it.
Yeah, I'm wondering too. It could be something he had to commit way earlier than he needed to, especially for creep, but the noise that the turtle was up. A lot of questions. All we know is Indonesia right now is still comfortable with continuing their aggression. Best Player 1 still trying to get that purple buff. He's going to be able to get it. Meanwhile, the members of Team Indonesia still continuing their aggression, and because of that, Super Ken pays the iron price. His life gets taken out.
And with that, the rest of the map relatively open here. Team USA can actually find a slow roll into the mid game here. They don't really have to pressure themselves to find a return, but a kill on Super Ken is a kill, right? Make the most of it by opening up the map, and oh, look at the damage put on Moreno.
Oh man, he gets almost absolutely annihilated there. But that Fanny, it's still going to be quite some time until it's that almost one-hit kill Fanny that people are so afraid of. Hence why she's constantly banned. But right now, because of the aggression that Team Indonesia are dishing out, Best Player 1's having a hard time getting to that point. And that's good news for Team Indonesia, but it's a ticking time bomb with Fanny all the time.
Yep, it has a weird early game if you're not going to be able to snowball.
Yeah.
And then you hit this weird mid-game power spike, and next thing you know, it's too late. But the way Indonesia's playing, they're very used to this. They have very good rationale, and they understand the approach to not ban out the Fanny and not really draft against it. But here we see an engage.
Oh, there's going to be heavy spin. That is going to be Phantom Execution. Trying to find time. Pause was called there by Team Indonesia, and that is going to be in the middle of, not really. It was like they were all disengaging at that point once that real-world manipulation was dropped down by that Eve.
Oh, which could be a byproduct of the current situation, the gaming atmosphere that our athletes are in. Folks, as much as we would also want for the competition to get in with, again, we're all doing this for your entertainment, and we're all big fans of MLBB esports. We want to make sure our athletes get the best competitive experience possible, right? This is the highest level of competition right now as we speak, and we want to make sure that they're able to perform their best. So that's what we're doing right now. We're figuring out exactly how Team Indonesia can get the best out of Game 3, and it's the same for Team USA. Now let's talk about exactly how Team Indonesia can get the momentum back, because it's clear, 3-1. Best Player 1 is able to rotate as quickly as he wants to, just not able to get the kills he's looking for. How do we approach this if, let's say, you're from Team Indonesia?
On the side of Team Indonesia, I mean, one of the good things that they're doing is that they constantly have their Uranus covering the weakest lane currently in the map. I mean, we're still sort of in the transition away from the laning phase. Laning phase is well done and over, but because there are still some turrets that need to get taken down there, the constant pressure of the Uranus and the presence on the opposite lanes means that the Fanny can split push. And usually in these situations where the Fanny, let's say, had a difficult early game, she was pressured, she always looks, or Fanny players will always try to look for that split push, get a win elsewhere. But Team Indonesia are covering their map well to not allow that to happen. But I feel like it might get to that point where Team Indonesia will just have to give something up, because they'll need all 5 to fight, and Team USA can bait that out, and it looks like they're going to fight, but it looks like, oh, nope, look at your opposite lane. Your Fanny's already pushing.
And if anything, I feel like the ones who can afford to give something up, hear me out, is Super Ken. It looks like Super Ken can play spoiler. You can't do it with Vin, right? Chorizo, he's got this down pat, man. He's controlling a quarter of the map at min, and he hasn't really died for it as much. Like, he really could have been punished harder in the past 6 minutes. But hear me out. If it's Vin, it's too obvious. If it's Vin, it'll come to the point where he plays like that Cho he did in Game 2, and it just hits a critical mass, and you're giving up way too much to ISO, right? That's what I'm afraid of. That's why it can't be Vin, for me personally. How I'm approaching this and how I'm seeing this is maybe it can be Ken, because there are possible outcomes wherein he actually gets away with it.
That is something that, especially on a Lancelot,
he can afford it.
Yeah, he can afford it, and there's so many things you can do as a Lancelot, honestly, to open up the map, open up opportunities all across. So yeah, I agree with you there. One of the interesting things, though, especially with the lineup that Team USA brought out here, is that they have that element of surprise. Funnily enough, the members of Team Indonesia have the heroes to sort of mitigate it when it happens. I mean, we're talking about a Kufra that can come out of nowhere with a setup, a Fanny that we know can cable, show up, deal damage, cutthroat, get on out of there.
A Fredrin.
They have a Fredrin as well. So those elements of surprise coming in from Team USA, it's their biggest boon right now to be able to balance it out or maybe even take the lead. And that's why, again, I'm going back to the thought that I mentioned earlier, that at some point Team Indonesia will have to let something up. Because that's the nature of the lineup that they're up against. If they constantly just try to face it a certain way, they will eventually fall. Because they're too, how do I say this, like laser focused or tunnel visioning on approaching it one way, that because of the surprising element that the lineup of Team USA has, it's going to bite them.
Well, we'll see how that unfolds, if something's going to give sooner rather than later. And yes, indeed, it is a full-on disengage. Delta split. Both United States and Indonesia call for down bottom as they set their eyes on a bigger prize. Up top, quarter half of the map, there is a turtle, and Super Ken's going for the pull. And yeah, look at Chorizo. He's just keeping, what, 3-4 members of Team USA at bay.
Yeah, and all that vision being provided is big. Warrior using the conceal, but immediately getting stopped. Here comes best player one, trying to find the retribution. Who's going to get it? That's going to be Super Ken from Team Indonesia because of the heavy spin. So disrupted by Finn, and here comes Warrior with the surprise we're talking about. But Ken is able to Thorn Rose away from the potential damage that was going to go his way. And in the bottom lane, add to that a solo kill by Saken onto ISO. ISO's been having a hard time naturally up against Saken's Claude. And the damage, the surprise, best player one with a basic attack takes down the Claude. Marksman for Marksman. Meanwhile, Vin gets his revenge. As a Filipino broadcasting legend said, "Excuse me, Poe, where did that come from?"
He brought the vindication just as quickly. Avenged his fallen gold laner. Ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting at 4-4, and throughout all of this mayhem and chaos across the map, Game 3, it all comes down to this. Team USA and Team Indonesia. It's the latter that stands tall. About 3K gold ahead here, approaching this Lord, spawning in about a minute. Oh, see, here we go. That's what I'm saying, man. If I know my Indonesian junglers, I know that it's Super Ken who can pull Team Indonesia out of that rut.
Yeah, man, he's going to be that guy right now, but it was Fried Chicken who was found by Team Indonesia up top. Purple buff now being contested yet again, as it has been all throughout the game. Best player one will not be able to walk away with it. This is a purple-less Fanny.
And that's difficult, man. Team Indonesia, ever since Game 1, we've seen them commit multiple counts of Grand Theft Purple, and it's never good, especially when you're a purple-reliant hero like a Fanny. And already we've been talking about how best player one can maybe find angles on the map that he can bounce back from. The situation just went from bad to worse here.
Yeah, and it's crazy right now that how it went. It was such an even game, and it eventually devolved into Indonesia takes control of the map. That quick. And again, we were just discussing the conditions for both. And it got to the point where Indonesia acknowledging the fact that they're going to have to give something up, and the gambit worked for them in the end.
And that's what's scary about this whole matchup, right? What Team United States wants to do, what Team USA wants, is reliable if you're looking at this game from a vacuum. And now super! Vin coming in with a super angle. Best player one. Poor old Carlos didn't see that coming.
Oh, that was a flicker and a heavy spin right to the face.
With theatrics.
With theatrics. That was peak cinema. What Vin just did. And now because of that, without their Fanny, the map looks even smaller. This purple buff is going to get taken away again by Team Indonesia. If Chorizo still somehow gets this, I don't know anymore. Oh, he did! He gets it! With Grand Theft Orange!
With a picture-perfect Ionic Edge.
He likes big buffs and he cannot lie.
And they are pushing the advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, the past minute's worth of sequences, if you're an Indonesian, is a Michael Bay just showcase. But if you're from Team USA, it's a jump scare. It's horror. Yeah, it's a horror film. Like, oh Lord, what's going on?
I'm pretty sure that's how they sounded there. Beatrix.
Man, year after year, your sound effects just keep getting better, Reptile.
I learned from the best, Leo. Look at the top side there. Lord already looking at it. To be Socket avoiding some damage there with the BMI. Top will not fall. Stopping it in time. Mid lane doesn't not look good. But they hold on again. So Indonesia still waiting. Patient are they?
Good news and bad news is Team USA, they have great wave clear. This is as good as it gets between Eve as a mid laner and ISO, your Beatrix as a gold laner.
Oh, yes.
Great wave clear. Like, very little you have to commit, especially when you talk about space. Bad news is Team Indonesia's used to this. They play with plenty Eves. They play with plenty Beatrixes.
Beatrice?
Yeah. So you understand what's going on here, and they're going to take it slow. This is exactly how you attack the situation. There's a Lord spawning in about a minute. It's Luminous, and Team Indonesia, they will learn from this. Game 2, this is where they fell. They fell wherein they could have sworn they had USA by the throat. And this time around, with this, oh Lord, almost 10K gold lead.
It has to be clean here.
Not this time.
Yeah, not this time. There still is that element, but Indonesia says, we know, and we are watching out for it.
And if it slips, if it slips through, then this win definitely belongs to USA.
Oh, definitely. They have the lineup for it. I feel like it's not so crazy to think it could happen yet again.
It has to fall into place, though.
Yeah, it has to fall into place. I feel like it's going to be something that Ken, Vin, and Saken
need
to make happen. But best player one needs to cable on out of there. He's going to attach it. Super Ken hunting him down. There's a tower there. Where's he going to pass?
Run, Carlos, run!
Pass. Oh, Saken from out of nowhere. The Claude. BMI, perfect. And this is picture perfect right now for Indonesia. No one is going to stop them from getting this Lord.
And this is as free as it gets. Second Lord for Team Indonesia. They are going to use this Lord spawning in about 10 seconds from now. And best believe, I expect all inhibitors to fall.
It's really looking like that's going to be the case. Indonesia here looking like it was the United States on the way to pulling off an upset. After all the wait, after everything, we now find ourselves here with the Team USA in the brink. What will Indonesia do?
Here we go. Best player one clearing up top. Indonesia crashing on through mid. This main artery now penetrated through. They're going to make quick work of bottom lane as well.
Holding on to the Lord. It's a good angle here for the United States to hold on. Minions getting cleared. Vin going in. Vin, oh, that's going to be the heavy spin. Already going to be a big fight. Real world manipulation. The members of Indonesia are under it, but they have found the space outside to create something, to make magic, to create a moment. But it's best player one finding a kill. Warrior gets taken out. That is 2 for 1. Indonesia still in the lead. Indonesia looking at the base and telling United States, Ini Bencana, what just happened? Indonesia takes game number 3 and takes the series.
It was a long road. There were certain turns and twists, they would say, in this long tale of Indonesia versus USA. But in the end, the Terminators get one for their country. GG well played for Team USA, though. We didn't expect for them to get it this close. I'll be honest, I didn't. Given, again, the ragtag composition that they have from what they could send out here to Romania. But, again, the better team tonight or today for them over there comes out on top.
I am pleasantly surprised with the performance here of Team USA. What they showed in game number 2, how they handled that game number 3 until, of course, you know, Indonesia got to adjust in-game, mid-game, to finally answer and get the lead over Team USA. Although Team USA looking bright are all those stars.
And again, with this 3-game series, all of their stock just goes up. I don't think this loss is a decisive blow to the confidence of these young gentlemen. I gotta give kudos. Carlos has grown up. Best player one from the last time we saw him on an international stage in Cambodia. He's been dealt less than ideal hands of cards back to back. And he makes the most of them. And here I gotta say, well played.
Yeah, game number 1, he was dealt an impossible hand. Game number 2, dealt a favorable hand, and he made the most out of it. And game number 3, despite him struggling, he was winning those retribution battles to make sure he got those purples most of the time. Although eventually got to the point where it was all Indonesia, but him holding on that long, trying to create space. And again, we were talking about it. Team Indonesia, we're always watching out for that. They were respecting the split push of the Fanny and always had someone covering. Got to the point where it just wasn't Cerezo. It was, as you mentioned, Ken. And then also, eventually, it also became Vin with him.
Yep, and that's why I think the right team came out on top, which is Team Indonesia. Because if it comes down to the micro and the mechanics, Team USA have that figured out.
Yeah.
But the way Team Indonesia actually picked up the pace and found that pressure point and won is because of macro, because of how their team dynamics and their understanding of the pacing of the game, and again, how you put it, how something has got to give. We have to find out what's worth gambling and giving up when it comes to resources, the map, initiations. They understood what they can get away with.